Emily, can I ask you something?
Sure. What's up?
Why is it so easy to feel motivated at night?
What do you mean?
You know what I mean. You're lying in bed at 11 o'clock thinking about your life. Tomorrow, I'm going to wake up early. I'm going to exercise. I'm going to eat healthy. I'm going to work for 3 hours without touching my phone. I'm going to completely change my life.
Oh, absolutely.
And then the next morning?
You wake up and suddenly all those plans sound terrible.
Exactly.
Especially the waking up early part.
Yesterday, I told myself, tomorrow, I'll wake up at 6.
And what time did you wake up?
8:30.
8:30?
Okay, 8:45.
Daniel!
My alarm was very aggressive. I had to protect myself.
You mean you turned it off?
That's one way to describe it.
You know what's funny? I do exactly the same thing.
Really?
Yes! I can make a perfect plan at night. I feel so motivated. I write everything down. Tomorrow is going to be different. And then morning comes and my brain says, maybe tomorrow is better.
That is exactly the problem.
And I think most people understand this feeling. You start something with a lot of energy. Maybe you decide to exercise every day, or learn English, or study for an exam, or start a new project. For the first few days, you're excited.
You feel unstoppable.
Exactly. You think, this time I'm really gonna do it.
And then somehow, a few days later, you're back on the couch watching videos.
And eating snacks.
Usually snacks.
That's an important detail.
Very important.
But seriously, why does this happen? Why can we feel so motivated one day and completely unmotivated the next?
I've actually thought about that a lot. And I think the problem is that we expect motivation to stay with us.
Explain that.
When we're excited about a new goal, we think that feeling is going to last. But motivation is more like a guest.
A guest?
Yeah, it comes in, stays for a while, makes you feel great, and then suddenly leaves without saying goodbye.
That's actually a really good description.
Thank you.
But if motivation comes and goes, then what are we supposed to do when it disappears?
That's the interesting part. Because I don't think successful people are motivated all the time.
I agree. I used to think successful people woke up every morning feeling excited and ready to work.
Same.
But now I think that's probably not true. Sometimes you wake up tired. Sometimes you don't feel like working. Sometimes you have a bad day. Sometimes you just want to do absolutely nothing.
And that's normal.
Exactly. The problem is, when we don't feel motivated, we often think something is wrong with us.
Yes. We say things like, I'm lazy. I have no discipline. I can never finish anything. I always give up.
And once you start thinking like that, it becomes even harder to take action.
That's a really important point. Sometimes the biggest problem isn't the lack of motivation. It's what we tell ourselves when we don't have motivation.
Wow. I think I've done that many times.
Me too. You miss one day at the gym and you think, well, I've already failed. Then you miss another day. Then another. And suddenly, one bad day becomes one bad month.
That happens with almost everything. You plan to study English for 30 minutes every day. Monday, you do it. Tuesday, you do it. Wednesday, you're tired, so you skip it. Thursday, you think, I already missed yesterday. Friday, you completely forget about it.
And Saturday?
Saturday, you suddenly decide you need a new notebook.
Why?
Because obviously the notebook is the problem.
Of course.
New notebook, new pen, new plan.
New motivation.
Exactly!
But no actual work.
Okay, that was personal.
But I think we've all done something like that. We spend more time preparing to start than actually starting.
That is so true. Sometimes we think we need to feel motivated before we take action. But maybe it works the other way around. What do you mean? Maybe action creates motivation. Interesting. Think about it. You don't always feel like going for a walk. But if you put your shoes on and walk outside for 5 minutes, you might suddenly feel better. You don't want to study, but you sit down and study for 10 minutes. And then you think, okay, I can do another 10.
So maybe we're waiting for motivation to come first.
Exactly. And sometimes it doesn't come until we start moving.
That might be one of the biggest mistakes we make.
And we're going to talk more about that today. Because there's a difference between being motivated and being consistent.
And honestly, I think consistency is much harder.
Definitely.
Because motivation feels good. Consistency doesn't always feel good.
You can be consistent even when you're tired, even when you're bored, even when nobody is watching.
And that's probably where most people struggle.
Including us.
Including us.
So today, we're going to talk about why motivation disappears, why we procrastinate, why our phones make everything harder, why we set unrealistic goals, and what we can actually do when we don't feel like doing anything.
And there's one question I really want us to answer before we finish.
Which question?
What should you do when you have zero motivation, but you still have something important to get done?
That's a good one.
And I have a feeling the answer is much simpler than people think.
Well, we'll see if your answer actually works.
You don't trust me.
Not when you set your alarm for 6 and wake up at 8:45.
Fair enough.
All right, let's start with the biggest question. Why does motivation disappear so quickly?
Yeah. Because honestly, where does it even go?
Probably sleeping while we're trying to work.
That sounds about right.
But seriously, I think there's something interesting about motivation.
What?
It's usually strongest when we're starting something new.
Yeah, that's true.
Think about it. You suddenly get an idea. Maybe you decide you want to start exercising, or learn English, or read more books, or start a business, or finally clean your room.
Okay. I feel personally attacked by that last one.
Your room needs motivation too, Daniel.
My room is organized.
Daniel, I saw your chair yesterday.
What's wrong with my chair?
It had clothes on it.
That's not a chair anymore. That's my second wardrobe.
Exactly.
Okay. But you're right. When we start something new, we usually feel excited.
Exactly. And suddenly everything feels possible. You start thinking, I'm going to exercise every morning. I'm going to study English for 1 hour every day. I'm going to read 20 books this year. I'm going to stop eating junk food. I'm going to wake up at 5:30.
5:30?
Yes.
Who are these people who wake up at 5:30?
I don't know. But every motivational video makes it look like waking up at 5:30 will solve your entire life.
Right. You wake up at 5:30, drink lemon water, exercise, meditate, read 10 pages, write in your journal.
And somehow finish all of that before 7.
Meanwhile, I'm still trying to find my phone.
Which is usually next to your head.
That's not the point.
It is exactly the point.
But this is where I think we make our first mistake.
What mistake?
We confuse excitement with motivation. When we start something new, we're excited about the result. We imagine ourselves 6 months from now. Maybe we imagine ourselves healthier, more confident, more successful, speaking English fluently, getting a better job, finishing a big project.
And that picture feels amazing.
Exactly. The future version of ourselves looks fantastic.
But then reality shows up.
Yeah. You realize that getting there means doing boring things again and again.
That's the hard part.
Nobody gets excited about doing the same small thing every day.
Exactly. Nobody wakes up and says, wow, I can't wait to practice these 10 English sentences for the 100th time.
I actually might.
You're weird.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
But seriously, repetition can be boring. And once the excitement disappears, we start asking ourselves, why am I doing this?
Yes. And that's when motivation starts dropping.
Because the goal is still far away.
That's an important point. Sometimes the problem is that we focus too much on the final result.
Right. We want to lose 10 kilos. We want to speak perfect English. We want to become successful. We want to save a lot of money. We want to get our dream job. But those goals can feel huge. And when something feels huge, it can feel impossible. Exactly. You look at the mountain instead of looking at the next step.
I love that.
Thank you.
You're having a good day with your quotes today.
Maybe waking up late gave me wisdom.
Maybe.
But think about learning English. Imagine someone says, I want to speak English fluently in 6 months. That's a great goal. But then they think, I need to study grammar. I need to learn thousands of words. I need to improve my pronunciation. I need to listen to podcasts. I need to speak every day.
And suddenly, they feel overwhelmed.
Exactly. And instead of starting with 10 minutes, they do nothing.
That happens to me with exercise.
Really?
Yes. I tell myself, if I'm going to exercise, I need to do a proper workout.
What does a proper workout mean?
At least 45 minutes.
Why 45?
I don't know. It just sounds serious.
So what happens if you only have 10 minutes?
I tell myself it's not enough.
And then?
I do nothing.
There it is.
I know.
That's actually a really common problem. We think small progress doesn't count.
Yes. We think, if I can't do it perfectly, why bother?
And that mindset can destroy motivation.
Because we create rules that are too difficult to follow.
Exactly. And then we break our own rules.
Then we feel disappointed.
Then we feel guilty.
Then we lose confidence.
And then we stop.
It becomes a cycle.
A very annoying cycle.
Very annoying.
So maybe motivation doesn't disappear for no reason.
Maybe we slowly push it away ourselves.
Exactly. We set huge goals. We expect fast results. We try to be perfect. Then we get tired.
And when the results don't come quickly, we think we're failing.
Even though we might actually be making progress.
That reminds me of something.
What?
Have you ever started learning something and felt like you were getting worse instead of better?
Oh, yes.
Why does that happen?
I think sometimes you become more aware of what you don't know.
That's interesting.
At the beginning, you don't know enough to notice your mistakes.
True.
Then you learn more. And suddenly you notice, oh, I'm still making mistakes.
So you feel like you're not improving.
Exactly. But actually, you might be improving. You're just becoming more aware.
That happens with English too. At first, you might be happy because you can say a few sentences. Then you start listening to native speakers and realize how many expressions you don't understand.
And you think, I'll never speak like that.
Exactly.
But that doesn't mean you're getting worse. It means you're noticing more.
I think that's something people need to remember. Progress isn't always obvious.
Especially when you're working on something for a long time.
Yes. Sometimes you're improving, but you can't see it because you're looking at yourself every single day.
Like watching a plant grow.
What?
If you stare at a plant for 10 hours, you won't see much. But if you look at it after 3 months,
It's completely different.
exactly.
So maybe we need to stop expecting ourselves to see progress every single day.
Yeah. And maybe that's one reason motivation disappears. We expect immediate results from long-term goals.
And when we don't get them, we lose interest.
But there's another thing that destroys motivation even faster.
What?
Distraction.
Oh no.
Especially one particular thing.
Let me guess.
Your phone.
Okay. I can't even argue with that.
You know what's funny? Sometimes I sit down to work, put my phone next to me, and tell myself I'm not going to touch it.
And how long does that last?
Depends.
On what?
Whether someone sends me a message.
Daniel.
I'm being honest.
And what if nobody sends you a message?
Then I check anyway.
Exactly.
But why is it so difficult to leave our phones alone?
I think that deserves its own conversation.
Definitely. Because sometimes we're not actually lacking motivation.
We're just surrounded by things that are much easier and more entertaining.
Exactly. And that brings us to our next problem.
Our phones.
And the endless scrolling.
Oh, that's dangerous.
Very dangerous.
You know what's funny? I can sit down with the best intentions. I have my notebook, my laptop is open, I have water next to me. Everything is ready.
Sounds productive.
It does, right?
So what happens?
I check my phone for just 5 minutes.
Ah,
And then suddenly,
20 minutes are gone.
sometimes 30.
Sometimes an hour.
Okay, I didn't say that.
Your silence said it.
Fine. Sometimes an hour.
And what were you doing?
Nothing important.
That's the dangerous part.
Exactly. I might watch one short video. Then another one appears. Then another. And somehow I'm watching a video about someone organizing their refrigerator.
Why?
I don't know.
Did you even need to organize your refrigerator?
No,
Did you learn anything useful?
absolutely not.
But you watched the whole thing.
Yes,
That's impressive.
thank you. I'm very committed to wasting time.
But this is actually something a lot of people struggle with. We call it procrastination.
And procrastination is strange because we usually know exactly what we should be doing.
Right. You know you should study. You know you should exercise. You know you should finish that assignment. You know you should answer that important email.
But suddenly, cleaning your desk becomes extremely important.
Or doing the laundry. Or checking the weather. Or looking at your old photos.
Or searching for a new phone that you don't even need.
Or searching for a new phone that you don't even need.
Okay, that one is very specific.
Who?
You?
Fair enough.
But why do we do this? If we know something is important, why do we avoid it?
I think sometimes the task feels uncomfortable.
What do you mean?
Maybe it's difficult. Maybe we're afraid we'll make mistakes. Maybe it's boring. Maybe it feels too big. Or maybe we don't know where to start.
That last one is huge.
Yeah. Sometimes the problem isn't that we don't want to do something, we just don't know how to begin.
That happens to me when I have a big project. I look at everything I need to do and think, okay, where do I even start?
And then,
I take a break.
before you even start,
Yes,
that's not a break.
it feels like a break.
It's procrastination.
Okay.
And then what do you do during your break?
I check my phone.
Of course.
And that's where things get worse. Because your phone doesn't ask you to work.
Exactly.
It asks you to relax.
And it gives you something interesting immediately.
That's why it's so hard to put down.
Think about it. If you're studying for an exam, you might need to concentrate for 30 minutes before you really understand something.
But your phone can entertain you in 2 seconds.
Exactly.
One tap. And suddenly you have music, videos, messages, news, games, social media. Everything is there.
And none of it requires much effort.
That's probably why our brains choose it.
Yeah. Your brain naturally looks for the easier option.
So when you're tired, the phone becomes even more attractive.
Exactly. And that's why I don't think we should always say, I'm lazy. Sometimes the environment is making it incredibly easy to get distracted.
That's a really important difference.
If your phone is sitting right next to you and every notification makes a sound, it's going to be harder to focus. But if your phone is in another room, you might forget about it. Exactly.
Actually, I tried something like that recently.
What did you do?
I put my phone in another room while I was working.
And?
At first, I kept thinking about it.
Of course.
I thought, what if someone messages me?
Did anyone?
No.
Of course not.
But after about 15 minutes, I forgot about my phone.
Really?
Yeah. And I worked for almost an hour without checking it.
That's actually pretty impressive.
I know. I surprised myself.
And how did you feel afterward?
Honestly,
Yeah.
I felt lighter.
Lighter?
Yeah. I realized how much mental space my phone was taking up. Even when I wasn't using it, I was thinking about it.
That's interesting.
It's like having someone constantly whispering, check your phone. Maybe someone sent you a message. Maybe there's a new video. Maybe something happened.
And you don't even realize how often you listen to that voice.
Exactly.
But I think there's another kind of distraction that's even more dangerous.
What?
Comparison.
Oh, yeah. That one is serious.
You open social media and see someone who looks incredibly successful. They have a great job. They travel. They have a nice house. They're fit. They look happy.
And suddenly you look at your own life and think, what am I doing?
Exactly.
You start comparing your normal Tuesday to someone else's best moments.
That's such a good way to put it.
And it can completely destroy your motivation.
Because instead of thinking about your own progress, you start thinking about how far behind you are.
Right. Imagine you've been learning English for 3 months. You're actually improving. You understand more. You can speak more confidently. Then you watch someone online speaking perfect English.
And suddenly you think, I'm terrible at English.
Exactly. Even though you're much better than you were 3 months ago.
You just stopped looking at your old self.
And started comparing yourself with someone else.
That happens with everything. Fitness, money, career, relationships, travel, even lifestyle.
Sometimes social media makes everyone else's life look perfect.
And yours looks like a disaster.
Even though you're probably looking at your own life the same way.
What do you mean?
You see everything. The messy room, the unfinished work, the bad day, the mistakes, the things you haven't achieved yet. But when you look at someone else, you only see what they choose to show you.
That's true.
So we compare the full story of our life with a few edited moments from someone else's life.
And then we wonder why we feel bad.
Exactly.
Okay, so now we have two problems.
Our phones
And comparison.
and procrastination
And unrealistic goals.
and probably our terrible sleep schedules.
Okay, that one doesn't apply to me.
Daniel, you literally told me you were going to sleep at 10 last night.
I was.
And
I watched one episode.
one episode?
Okay, 3.
Daniel,
They were short.
they were 45 minutes each.
Time moves differently at night.
That is the worst excuse I've ever heard.
But honestly, sleep is connected to motivation too.
Definitely. If you're exhausted, even simple things feel difficult.
You don't want to exercise. You don't want to study. You don't want to work. You don't even want to cook.
You just want to lie down.
Exactly.
And then you feel guilty because you didn't accomplish anything.
Which makes you feel even worse.
And when you feel worse, you want more distraction.
So you pick up your phone again.
And the cycle starts all over again.
That's the problem.
It's not just about motivation,
It's about the environment around us,
our habits,
our distractions.
and sometimes the expectations we put on ourselves.
Which brings us to something I really struggle with.
What?
Wanting everything to happen quickly.
Oh, yes.
We want results immediately. We start exercising and expect to see a difference in a week. We start learning English and expect to speak perfectly in a month. We start saving money and expect to become rich quickly.
And when it doesn't happen fast enough, we lose interest.
Exactly.
Maybe we're not just addicted to our phones.
What do you mean?
Maybe we're addicted to quick results. Wow. We want everything now.
That might be even bigger than the phone problem.
Because real progress takes time.
And waiting is difficult.
Very difficult.
So, what do? How do we stay focused when everything around us is designed to distract us?
I have a few ideas.
Okay, but before we get into solutions, I think there's another problem we need to talk about.
Which one?
The way we set goals.
Oh, definitely.
Because sometimes we don't lose motivation because we're lazy.
Sometimes.
We simply expect too much from ourselves.
And that can be just as dangerous.
Yeah. I think we sometimes forget that we're human.
What do you mean?
We make these huge plans as if we have unlimited energy.
Oh, absolutely.
We say, tomorrow I'm going to wake up at 6. After work, I'll exercise for an hour. Then I'll study English for 2 hours. Then I'll read a book. And I'll go to bed early.
And somehow we expect to do all of that every single day.
Exactly.
But then reality happens. You wake up tired. You have work. You have family responsibilities. You have errands. Someone calls you. Something unexpected happens.
And suddenly your perfect schedule is completely gone.
Exactly.
Then you feel like you failed.
Even though you had a completely normal day.
That's the strange part. Sometimes we create impossible standards for ourselves and then get disappointed when we can't meet them.
And that disappointment can kill motivation.
Definitely.
I've done this with exercise.
Again?
Yes, again.
Okay. Tell me.
I once decided I was going to exercise every single day.
Every day?
Every day. For how long? I didn't decide.
That sounds promising.
I just thought, from now on, I'm going to exercise every day.
And how long did that last?
4 days.
4?
4 very powerful days.
What happened on day 5?
I was tired.
So you skipped it.
Yes.
And then?
I felt guilty
Why?
because I had broken my promise to myself.
That sounds serious.
It felt serious at the time. I thought, here we go again. I can never stick to anything.
That's a harsh thing to say to yourself.
I know. But I think a lot of people talk to themselves like that.
They do.
If they miss one day, they think they're a failure.
If they eat one unhealthy meal, they think the whole diet is ruined.
If they miss one workout, they think they've lost all their progress.
If they don't study one day, they think they're becoming lazy.
It's like we believe one mistake cancels everything we did before it.
Exactly. And that's not how progress works.
No, progress isn't a straight line.
That's something I wish I had understood earlier.
Me too. Some days are good. Some days are bad. Some days you do a lot. Some days you barely do anything.
And that doesn't mean you have to quit.
Exactly. You can have a bad day without turning it into a bad week.
I really like that.
It's simple, but it's true.
Let's say you're trying to learn English. You practice Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Then Friday comes and you're exhausted, so you don't practice. That's okay. But then Saturday comes and you think, I missed yesterday. I'll start again Monday. And suddenly you've turned one missed day into 3. Exactly. Sometimes we create the problem ourselves because we think we have to be perfect. And perfection is exhausting. Very exhausting. Imagine trying to be perfect every day. Perfect diet. Perfect workout. Perfect work. Perfect English. Perfect sleep. Perfect schedule. Perfect relationship.
Perfect everything. I'm already tired just listening to that.
Exactly.
So maybe instead of trying to be perfect, we should try to be consistent.
Yes. But even consistency can sound difficult.
True.
If I tell myself, I need to exercise for 1 hour every day for the next year, that sounds exhausting.
But what if you say, today, I'll exercise for 10 minutes?
That feels much easier.
Exactly.
And maybe after 10 minutes, I'll want to continue.
And if you don't?
At least I did 10 minutes.
Exactly.
That's better than doing nothing.
This is something I'm trying to learn too.
What?
Stop making every goal so dramatic.
What do you mean by dramatic?
Sometimes I think, if I'm going to learn something, I need to spend 3 hours on it.
Why 3 hours?
I don't know. It just sounds impressive.
It sounds exhausting.
Exactly. And then, because I don't have 3 hours, I do nothing.
That's such a common trap.
But if I tell myself, I'll just do 15 minutes, suddenly it doesn't feel so difficult.
And 15 minutes can become 30.
Exactly.
I think the hardest part is often starting.
Yes. Once you start, things become easier. Like going to the gym. The hardest part can be putting on your shoes. Or opening your laptop.
Or opening your book.
Exactly.
The first few minutes are the hardest.
And that's why tiny goals can help.
Instead of saying, I'm going to study for 2 hours, say, I'm going to study for 10 minutes.
Instead of, I'm going to read 50 pages, say, I'm going to read 5 pages.
Instead of, I'm going to completely change my lifestyle, say, I'm going to make one small change today.
That sounds much more realistic.
And realistic goals are easier to repeat.
And realistic goals are easier to repeat.
Exactly.
But there's another thing I think we need to talk about.
Sometimes we set goals because we genuinely want them, but sometimes we set goals because other people make us feel like we should want them.
For example, maybe everyone around you is talking about getting a high-paying job. So you think, I need to get a high-paying job too.
Or everyone is traveling. So you think, I need to travel more.
Or you see people online starting businesses, and suddenly you feel like you're behind.
Exactly.
And if the goal isn't really yours, it becomes much harder to stay motivated.
Because deep down, you don't care enough about it.
That's true.
You can force yourself for a while. But eventually, you'll ask, why am I doing this?
And if you don't have a good answer, motivation disappears.
Exactly. So maybe before we ask, how can I stay motivated? We should ask, why do I want this?
That's powerful.
Because if your reason is strong, difficult days become easier to handle.
Give me an example.
Okay. Imagine someone wants to learn English because they simply want to get better at English. That's fine. But imagine someone wants to learn English because they're moving to another country and they want to communicate confidently at work.
The second reason feels stronger.
Exactly. Or maybe someone wants to exercise because they want to look better. That can be motivation. But maybe someone wants to exercise because they want more energy and want to feel healthier.
That can be more meaningful.
Right. Your reason matters.
So maybe motivation isn't just about the goal?
It's also about why the goal matters to you.
That makes sense.
And I think there's one more problem.
Another one?
Yes,
We're collecting problems today.
we are.
Okay, what's the next one?
We expect ourselves to feel motivated every day.
Oh, yes.
But what happens when you wake up and you just feel terrible?
You have a bad mood.
Maybe you slept badly. Maybe something went wrong at work. Maybe you had an argument with someone. Maybe you're simply having one of those days.
And then you look at your goals and think, I can't do this today.
Exactly.
So what should we do on those days?
That's the question. Because knowing what to do when everything is going well is easy.
The real test is what you do when things aren't going well.
Exactly.
And I think that deserves its own conversation.
Definitely. Because having a bad day doesn't mean you've lost your motivation forever.
It might just mean you're human.
I like that.
Good.
But now I want to ask you something.
Okay.
What do you do when you wake up and you genuinely don't feel like doing anything?
Honestly,
Yeah,
sometimes I do absolutely nothing.
Daniel,
What?
we're supposed to be talking about motivation.
I'm being honest.
Okay, but what happens after that?
Usually I feel guilty.
Exactly.
And that's why I've been trying to change something.
What?
Instead of expecting myself to have a perfect day, I try to make sure I do at least one useful thing.
One thing?
Yeah, even if it's small.
That sounds much more manageable.
And sometimes that one thing gives me enough energy to do another.
So again, action first.
Maybe.
Interesting.
But we haven't tested this on one of our really bad days yet.
Oh, we definitely need to talk about that.
Because sometimes you wake up and even one small thing feels impossible.
Exactly.
And that's where I think motivation becomes really complicated.
Because sometimes you don't need a bigger goal.
You need a little patience with yourself.
And maybe a different approach.
So let's talk about those bad days.
Yeah, because everybody has them.
Bad days?
Yeah, days when you wake up and everything feels harder than usual.
Even getting out of bed?
Exactly. You hear your alarm, open your eyes, and immediately think, I don't want to do this today.
I know that feeling.
And sometimes there isn't even a big reason. Nothing terrible happened. You're just tired. Or your mood is low. Or you simply don't have the energy.
And I think that's when people start judging themselves.
Yeah. They think, why am I feeling like this? Why can't I just get up and do it? Other people seem to handle everything. Why can't I?
That last one is dangerous.
Why?
Because we compare our worst moments with someone else's best moments.
We talked about that earlier with social media.
Exactly. You see someone working out at 6 in the morning. They look energetic. They're smiling. They're talking about their goals. And you're lying in bed thinking about how tired you are.
And you think, what's wrong with me?
But you don't know what that person's day actually looks like.
Right. Maybe they had a terrible day yesterday. Maybe they're tired too. Maybe they just had enough energy for 5 minutes.
Exactly. We see the action. We don't see the struggle behind it.
That's important. Because sometimes we think motivation means feeling great before we start.
But maybe motivation doesn't always feel good.
What do you mean?
Sometimes motivation is just deciding, I don't feel like doing this, but I'm going to take one small step anyway.
I like that.
You don't need to feel excited. You don't need to feel powerful. You don't need to feel ready. You just need to start small. But what if you genuinely need a break? That's different.
Exactly. I think we need to talk about that too. Because sometimes people hear conversations about discipline and think they should push themselves no matter what.
Yeah.
And that's not always healthy. Sometimes you're just tired. You've had a long week. You've been working hard. You need sleep. You need to relax.
And resting doesn't mean you're lazy.
Exactly.
That's something I've had to learn.
Me too. Sometimes I feel guilty when I'm resting
Why?
because I think I should be doing something productive.
Even when you're exhausted?
Yeah,
That sounds exhausting by itself.
it is.
So what do you do now?
I ask myself one question.
What question?
Am I avoiding something? Or do I genuinely need a break?
Oh, that's good.
If I'm avoiding something because I'm scared, bored, or distracted, then I try to take a small step. But if I'm genuinely exhausted,
You rest.
exactly.
That's a really useful difference.
Because sometimes we call everything laziness
When actually we're tired
or overwhelmed
or stressed
or confused about what to do next.
or afraid of failing.
Exactly.
And sometimes I think we procrastinate because we're afraid of the result.
That's interesting.
Think about it. If you're scared you won't do something well, you might avoid starting.
Because if you don't start, you can't fail.
Exactly.
That's actually really true.
Maybe you have an important presentation tomorrow. You know you need to prepare, but you keep cleaning your room
Or checking your phone.
or checking your phone.
Or suddenly deciding that today is the perfect day to organize your entire wardrobe.
Exactly. Because deep down, you're nervous about the presentation.
So you avoid thinking about it.
And for a few minutes, you feel better.
But later,
You feel worse
because now you have less time.
and more stress,
So procrastination gives you short-term relief?
but creates long-term stress.
Exactly.
That's a really good way to explain it.
And I think that's why simply telling someone, stop procrastinating, isn't very helpful.
Right. You have to understand why you're procrastinating.
Maybe the task is too difficult. Maybe you don't know how to start. Maybe you're afraid. Maybe you're tired. Maybe you're distracted.
Once you know the reason, you can do something about it.
Exactly.
But there's another situation that can destroy motivation.
What?
What? Oh, yes. You work hard. You try. You really believe something is going to work. And then it doesn't.
That can hurt,
A lot.
especially when you've invested a lot of time.
Exactly. Maybe you apply for a job and don't get it. Maybe you study for an exam and get a lower score than expected. Maybe you start a project and nobody seems interested.
Maybe you try to build a new habit and keep breaking it.
And after a while, you start thinking, why should I even try again?
That's where people often give up.
Yeah,
But I think failure can teach you something that success can't.
what?
It can show you what isn't working.
That's true.
If you fail at something, you can ask, what went wrong? What can I change? Was my goal realistic? Did I give myself enough time? Was I using the right strategy?
Instead of saying, I'm a failure,
Exactly. The result can be a failure. That doesn't mean you are a failure.
that's an important difference.
Very important.
I think people sometimes connect their identity to their results.
Yes. If they fail at something, they think they are a failure. If they make a mistake, they think they're stupid. If they lose motivation, they think they're lazy.
But one moment doesn't define you.
Exactly.
You can have a bad day without being a bad person.
You can make a mistake without being a failure.
And you can lose motivation without giving up forever. That last one is important.
Because motivation can come back.
But sometimes you have to invite it back
How?
by doing something.
Again with the action.
I know. but I think there's something to it.
Maybe.
Imagine you've stopped exercising for a month. You feel bad about it. You keep thinking, I should start again. But every day you say, I'll start tomorrow.
That sounds familiar.
Then one day you say, okay, I'm just going to walk for 10 minutes.
That sounds easy enough.
You walk for 10 minutes. Maybe the next day you walk again. Then you exercise for 15 minutes.
And slowly, you're back.
Exactly.
So maybe restarting doesn't need to be dramatic either.
That's it.
We always think restarting has to be some big moment.
Like, today is the day I change my life.
Exactly.
New schedule, new notebook, new clothes, new playlist, new diet, new water bottle. Why is the water bottle necessary?
I don't know. It just feels like a fresh start.
Okay, fair.
But then we try to change everything at once.
And 3 days later, we're exhausted.
Exactly.
Maybe a better restart is quiet.
What do you mean?
You simply wake up and do one thing. No big announcement, no perfect plan, no promise that your entire life will change. Just one thing.
I really like that. Because sometimes we don't need more pressure. We need less.
That's probably why being kind to yourself matters.
Yes. But being kind to yourself doesn't mean making excuses forever.
Right.
It means understanding yourself while still moving forward.
That's a difficult balance.
Very difficult.
So let me ask you something.
Okay.
If you woke up tomorrow with absolutely no motivation, no energy, no excitement, no desire to work, what would you do?
Honestly,
Yeah.
I'd make the goal smaller.
How small?
Small enough that I can't really argue with it.
Give me an example.
If I need to study for an hour, I might tell myself, just open the book.
That's it?
That's it.
And then?
Maybe I read one page.
And then?
Maybe I read another.
So you're not trying to force motivation.
No. I'm just making it easier to begin.
That's interesting.
Because once you begin, you might keep going. And if you don't, at least you started.
I think we're getting closer to the answer to our big question.
You mean the question we mentioned at the beginning?
Exactly. What should you do when you have absolutely no motivation, but you still have something important to get done?
We're not answering it yet.
Why not?
Because I think we need to talk about something first.
What?
How to actually build motivation instead of waiting for it.
Okay. Now that sounds useful.
Because motivation isn't just something that magically appears.
Maybe we can create the conditions for it.
Exactly.
All right. I'm listening.
Good. Because I have a few things that might actually help.
Okay, let's hear them.
First, I think we need to stop waiting to feel motivated.
That sounds simple.
It is simple, but it's not always easy.
What do you mean?
Think about how often we say, I'll do it when I feel motivated. I'll start when I'm in the mood. I'll work on it when I have more energy.
I've definitely said all of those.
Me too. But if you always wait for the right mood, you might wait forever.
Because the right mood doesn't always come.
Exactly.
So what do you do instead?
I try to start before I feel ready.
That sounds uncomfortable.
Sometimes it is. But I tell myself, I don't need to finish. I just need to begin.
That's actually good.
For example, if I need to study, I don't say, I'm going to study for 2 hours. I say, I'm going to sit down and study for 5 minutes.
5 minutes?
Yup,
And does that really work?
more often than you'd think. Because 5 minutes doesn't feel scary.
And after 5 minutes?
Sometimes I stop.
Really?
Yes.
And isn't that a failure?
No,
Why not?
because I still did 5 minutes.
Fair.
And surprisingly, most of the time, I continue.
Why?
Because starting was the hardest part.
That makes sense.
It's like pushing a heavy door.
Okay.
When the door is completely still, it takes a lot of effort to push it. But once it starts moving,
It becomes easier.
exactly.
So maybe motivation works the same way?
Sometimes,
You start moving, and then you gain momentum.
exactly.
I like that word.
Momentum?
Yeah. Because sometimes you don't need motivation. You need momentum.
That's a really important difference.
Motivation says, I feel like doing this. Momentum says, I've already started, so I might as well continue.
Exactly.
Okay, that's number 1.
What?
Start small.
Yes.
What's number 2?
Make your environment easier.
We talked about phones earlier.
Exactly. If your phone is distracting you, don't depend on willpower.
Move it.
Exactly. Put it in another room, turn off notifications, put it on silent, or just put it somewhere you can't easily reach.
I tried that once.
And?
I spent 10 minutes looking for my phone
Why?
because I forgot where I put it.
That's actually a good thing.
Maybe.
If you can forget about your phone, you can focus on what you're doing.
True.
The same thing works with good habits.
Give me an example.
If you want to read more, keep a book next to your bed.
Okay.
If you want to drink more water, keep a bottle near you.
Makes sense.
If you want to practice English, keep your headphones somewhere easy to see.
So you're making good habits easier and bad habits harder.
Exactly.
That's smart.
And it means you don't have to fight yourself all day.
Because willpower gets tired.
Exactly.
That's something I never thought about.
We often think successful people have incredible willpower, but maybe they just design their environment better.
That's interesting.
If you're trying to eat healthier, don't keep a giant box of cookies right beside your laptop.
That's terrible advice for me.
Why?
Because I'll eat them,
Exactly.
even if I'm not hungry.
Exactly.
So the cookies are the problem?
No, Daniel.
The cookies are definitely the problem.
Your lack of self-control is the problem.
I prefer to blame the cookies.
Of course you do.
Okay. Start small. Make the environment easier. What's number 3? Track your progress.
Like keeping a checklist?
Exactly.
Why does that help?
Because progress feels better when you can see it.
That's true.
Imagine you practice English for 10 minutes today. Then you mark it on a calendar. Tomorrow, you do it again. Then the next day. After a week, you can look back and say, wow, I actually did this 7 times.
That feels good.
It does. And sometimes that feeling becomes motivation itself.
So you can create motivation by seeing your progress?
Exactly.
But what if you miss a day?
Then you continue.
No guilt?
No unnecessary guilt.
I like that.
If you miss one day, don't turn it into a reason to quit.
Just start again tomorrow.
Exactly.
What about when progress is really slow?
Then you have to change what you're measuring.
What do you mean?
Let's say you're learning English. Maybe you don't feel more fluent after 1 week. But maybe you learned 20 new words.
or understood more of a podcast.
Exactly. Maybe you spoke for 5 minutes without translating every sentence in your head.
That's progress.
Absolutely.
So sometimes we focus on the final result instead of noticing small improvements.
Yes. And small improvements are what keep you going.
Okay, start small. Make the environment easier. Track progress. What's number 4?
Have a reason.
We talked about that earlier.
Yes, but I think it's worth repeating. When things get difficult, your reason matters.
So ask yourself, why am I doing this?
Exactly. Not, what should I do? But why does this matter to me?
That's a better question.
Because if you know why something matters, it becomes easier to keep going when the excitement disappears.
For example, if I'm learning English because I want to communicate confidently when I travel,
Then studying English isn't just studying.
it's connected to something I really want.
Exactly.
If I'm exercising because I want more energy,
Then exercise isn't just about losing weight.
it's about feeling better.
Right.
If I'm working hard because I want to support my family,
Then difficult days have a bigger meaning.
That's powerful.
Your reason doesn't make everything easy, but it can remind you why you started.
Man, that can be enough sometimes.
Exactly.
Okay, I have one question.
Go ahead.
What about rewards?
Rewards?
Yeah. Like, if I finish my work, I give myself something I enjoy.
That can work.
So if I finish studying, I can watch a show.
Sure.
Or if I finish exercising, I can eat something I like.
Within reason.
What does that mean?
It means don't exercise for 30 minutes and then celebrate with 5 pizzas.
I was thinking 3.
Daniel!
Okay.
But yes, small rewards can make habits more enjoyable.
And maybe the reward doesn't have to be food.
Exactly. It could be watching your favorite show, listening to music, going for a walk, calling a friend, taking some time to relax.
so the idea is to make the process enjoyable.
Yes. Because if you hate every minute of what you're doing, it's hard to keep going.
That reminds me of something.
What?
Maybe we also choose goals that don't fit our personality.
Explain.
Let's say someone hates running, but they decide, I'm going to run every morning.
That might not last.
Exactly. But maybe they enjoy swimming, or cycling, or dancing, or walking.
So instead of forcing yourself to follow someone else's routine, find something you actually enjoy.
Exactly.
That's important. You don't need to copy someone else's life to improve your own.
And you don't need the perfect routine.
No. You need a routine that you can actually live with.
That sounds much more realistic.
Because the best habit is usually the one you can repeat.
Not the one that looks impressive on social media.
Exactly.
Okay, I think we've got a pretty good list.
Let's see. Start small,
Make your environment easier.
track your progress,
Know your reason.
reward yourself.
And choose habits that actually fit your life. That sounds simple.
It is.
But if it's so simple, why do we still struggle?
Because knowing what to do and actually doing it are two different things.
True.
You can know everything we've talked about today and still have a terrible day tomorrow.
You can still procrastinate,
Still get distracted.
still lose motivation.
Exactly.
So maybe the real question isn't, how do I stay motivated all the time?
Maybe the better question is,
what do I do when motivation disappears?
That's a much better question.
Because motivation will disappear sometimes,
You can't control that.
but you can control what you do next. And I think that's the most important thing we've talked about today.
Maybe.
Maybe?
I'm saving something for the end.
What are you saving?
Remember our question from the beginning?
The one about having zero motivation but still needing to get something important done?
Exactly.
You think you have the answer?
I think so.
Okay. Now I'm curious.
Good. Because I think the answer is actually very simple.
Then I guess we have to save it for the final part.
Exactly.
All right. Let's save the big answer for the end.
And before we get there, there's one more thing we need to talk about.
What?
What happens when you've tried all of this and you still don't feel motivated?
That's a good question.
Because sometimes you can make the goal smaller. You can remove distractions. You can remember your reason. You can track your progress. And still,
You just don't want to do it.
exactly.
Then maybe that's when we need to stop looking for motivation?
And start looking at something else.
So, Daniel, after everything we've discussed, what do you think is the real secret to staying motivated?
Honestly, stop waiting for motivation.
Then what should we do?
Start small. If you have a huge task, don't think about finishing everything. Just take the first step.
Like studying for 5 minutes instead of 3 hours?
Exactly.
And sometimes those 5 minutes become 10, then 20.
Right. Motivation often comes after action, not before it.
And what if we have a bad day?
Don't turn one bad day into a bad week. Take a break if you need one, then start again.
I like that. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to keep moving forward,
Even slowly.
even after making mistakes.
And even when you have to start again.
Because starting again isn't failure.
Sometimes, it's the strongest thing you can do.
Before we finish, let's practice a few sentences.
Repeat after us.
I don't feel motivated today.
I'll start with something small.
I just need to take the first step.
One bad day doesn't mean I should give up.
I can always start again.
Great job.
Now we have a question for you.
What usually makes you lose motivation?
And what is one small thing you want to accomplish tomorrow?
Tell us in the comments.
And remember, don't choose something huge.
Choose one small step.
I think I understand motivation differently now.
Me too.
You don't need to feel motivated every day.
You just need to keep coming back.
Start small,
Keep going.
and if you stop,
Start again.
that's probably the most important lesson from today.
And that brings us to the end of episode 5 of the Daily English Speaking Podcast. Thank you for spending your time with us.
If you enjoyed this episode, like the video and subscribe to Daily English Speaking.
And don't forget to answer our question in the comments.
Keep practicing.
Keep speaking.
And most importantly,
Keep going.
see you in the next episode.
Bye, everyone.